As our mandala wheel turns, we are now entering in through gate number 20. This is in Gemini season, and Gemini season is all about the third house of communication, the influence of our early years, and our persona. And you can see by the different gate activations throughout Gemini season that we are primarily within the throat center. The throat center in the teachings of human design is our area of communication, manifestation, and also how we are metabolizing energy. So, how energy affects us, especially in the way that we communicate to ourselves through the mind, talking to the body, and how we articulate what is coming through in our ability to feel energy and what we have been conditioned to believe within our mind. Moving into gate number 20, we're going to be looking at the gate of the now and moving through the energy of superficiality into self-awareness, harnessing the gift of self-assurance, and really learning about the highest aspect, which is all about presence. When we look at the teachings of the I Ching, gate 20 can be seen as a literal gateway. So, by sitting in the gateway between this and that and watching every aspect of life dispassionately, you are led to find clarity in your life. So, this is really a gate of observation, being able to look to the past, to the future, and stay very much in the present moment by having a detached view, by looking at things through that higher lens, that objective lens, or higher self viewing. This is a very interesting gate in the teachings of human design because there are three very specific energy flows or channels that are connected to this one particular gate. And in this case, you're going to want to check your human design chart to see if you have any one of the following three channels in your design. You may have all three, you may have two, you may have one, you may have none of them. It is an opportunity to learn a little bit more about yourself if you have a particular channel. And if you don't have a particular channel, this is to have a greater awareness of what you can be experiencing when gate 20 is activated in the mandala wheel, or when you're in relationship to somebody else who is influenced by this channel. Because this is coming from the throat, it is coming from the voice, and it's all about having instant clarity and taking instant action. How it applies to the channel 1020, which is known as the channel of awakening, means that you are aware of your choices and decisions as they arrive through a sense of self-respect. I claim full responsibility for my thoughts, expressions, and deeds. If you have channel 2057, this is known as the channel of involuntary impulses. I become instantly aware of the harmony or disharmony within others and my environment. And if you have the 2034 connection, that is the channel of keeping busy. I am busy doing what I love. I feel empowered through the work I choose to engage in. And we're going to dive deeper into each one of those three potentials of energy flow once we talk very specifically about the properties within gate 20, the gate of the now. So again, an opportunity to check your human design chart to see, do you have gate 20 circled within your throat center? Is it coming from a center that is colored in, meaning it's defined, meaning you have constant energy supporting this gate as an expression of who you are? Or if it appears white in your chart, this is an opportunity to have the properties of the gate, have the awareness of the energy inconsistently. So it's a part of who you are, but it is here, then it is not. It is here, and then it is not. Gate 20 is all about having instant clarity and taking instant action. So it is I am now or not. It is seen as that gateway and neither being here or there, but really observing from that place in between, being in the gate of contemplation. The energy is really here to teach us how to stay in the present moment and to be in the here and now. And all too often, we tend to check out. We escape into our minds, we get sidetracked, we get into our daydreams. So, this is really about focusing on staying rooted and grounded in your earthly experience and being very present. To be in the here and now means learning to let go of our expectations and hopes of the future. It's releasing the regrets and the resentment or the stress from your past. And it is really about resting in the pause of life in order to gain clarity. Diving deeper into the channel of awakening, which is the 2010 connection. This is connecting the throat center into the center of self. And it is coming in through one of the love gates, which is known as the behavior of self. So here we're going to find somebody who is really committed to the higher principles in life. So this is a leadership channel, and it takes a leadership in walking the talk and walking towards what it feels to be those higher principles. It often carries a very strong sense of identity, a very strong love for life, and it embraces the potential for an awakening in others. So it's here to encourage authenticity in ourselves, authenticity in other people, but it can also take criticism very, very personally. So it's here also to learn to appreciate itself, not to worry so much about what other people think, not to let that affect one's self-esteem or authenticity, but to let those roll off. And then really stepping into valuing honesty and integrity. So holding self accountable to walking those principles and leading by example. To tap into the property of the gate 20, the voice, this activation, the mandala wheel. This is where it's stepping into knowing I am clear and I decide to, meaning your higher authority is deciding to. You have clarity before jumping in and making those decisions. When we look at the channel of involuntary impulses, the connection between the throat and our splenic center, the splenic center in the teachings of human design is our center of health and intuitive awareness. It's also where we hold our primary fears related to survival and also our deepest intuition. So this is a highly intuitive channel, and because it's splenic, it's really, really fast. It's instant, it's in the now. And it can hear what sounds truthful about people, projects. It knows the way ahead. It can feel the vibrations of which way to go. Intuition pierces the auric field, meaning it's getting through all these layers that are around the individual and the environment. We have our physical layer, we have our emotional layer, we have our mental layer, soul layer. It keeps going from there. So this intuition is so strong. It's piercing through someone's mental, it's piercing through the emotional, it's getting into the physical. It is sensing whether someone has a hidden agenda, is insecure. It senses if something is too risky to enact on. So it is really cutting to the core of the matter through this intuition of hearing. And hearing is a knowing. It is feeling the energetic vibrations and the impulses. It also naturally carries a fear of the future. And as so, the body, your body, may be just like that of a twitching cat. You may notice that you have little twitches, little twerks, little mannerisms where you're always on edge. You're always on alert. You are picking up on sounds. You are sensing when something is coming. You might be a little bit more jumpy. You are designed to be on high alert. And this is where you can really study animals. If you happen to have a cat in your house and you are naturally more fearful to noises, to sensations, when you have a cat in your presence and you watch the behavior of that animal, if they are looking in a direction of something and you're not seeing anything there, but they're looking and you just sense that there is a presence, but they're not responding to it, they're not afraid of it, that's your indicator that you also do not need to be afraid. A lot of times we are sensing a presence, and because we can't see it through our physical eyes, we create a fear story. And this is where we're having to really come out of the mind and come into the body and feel into that energy and use what is around us. So, animals, children, anything that is pure of heart, not conditioned to its environment, to really sense, is this fear justified? Or am I having to move through a fear story, a conditioning that is overriding my ability to trust in my body? When you have this connection, you may also notice that when you're having a conversation with somebody, you're jumping around from topic to topic. You are cutting things in the middle of a sentence and you're picking up on something and jumping over to explore a new area. And the reason for that is you're picking up of clues, tones, vibrations. Something is coming into your awareness that says, wait a minute, I think that has value. I think that that needs to be explored. So sometimes that can be hard for others to have a conversation with you if they're not allowed to finish what they're saying and you're jumping in and kind of cutting them off. So really kind of watching and noticing for yourself your timing and knowing that, yes, it is impulsive, but you can store it within yourself to trust and wait for that opportunity to interject, to explore it a little bit further, to trust in those body sensations. So, to harness the energy, the full potential in here, it is I am clear with what my intuition is revealing to me. I respond from trusting in this inner knowing. And your mind cannot go where your intuition can go. So it's not rational. You cannot prove it. It just is. You know or you do not know. Our last channel possibility in this connection is the channel of power. And here we see the throat center connecting us to the sacral center, which is all about our life force energy. It is our power. Now, if you have this channel in your chart, you are a manifesting generator. This is a manifestor generator channel because it's connecting an energy center to the throat. That means that you're engaging in the sounds of the sacral, your yeses, your nos, that gut feeling. And once you have that affirmative yes, you're locking it in and you're taking action. Now, because there's a lot of pressure through this energy, it's always humming. It wants to express itself. It's literally a bundle of energy. There is this tendency to be busy, consistently being busy and being at your happiest when you are busy doing those activities that you love to do. that's where you're just going to find yourself humming away. Life is going to feel very full, very satisfying when you are fulfilling yourself with being able to place your energy towards things that really engage you. When you are engaged, when you're in the middle of activity, it does not like to be distracted. It is really kind of focused, head down, enjoying the moment. It's like a train that's in operation, and you can't just stop the train. So you may find yourself getting irritated, getting frustrated whenever there's a lot of distractions that are interrupting you in your flow. And maybe you have to have some powerful conversations, respectful conversations that allow you areas and times of focus without distraction, and other times where you're having to really kind of let that slide because life requires you to be involved. If you are a parent with little children, there's constant distractions and they're not the inconvenience. It may feel like an inconvenience, but when you remind yourself that you were once a child and the power of our words and the power of our energy and how those interruptions can be projected upon a child as something that they've done wrong, we can really harness within ourselves the ability to know and practice discernment for what is a good distraction and what is not. So it's also kind of knowing that you're highly charismatic. This is a lot of energy in here that is designed to also get everybody else busy. It's like having a shot of CPR, spiritual CPR in the arm. So you may walk into an office place, you may walk into an environment, you may walk into a room, and all of a sudden everybody else is starting to feel like, oh my God, let's get doing something. Let's get motivated. Let's jump on board. So knowing that your energy has this kind of fire cracked on people, be very careful of people flattering you or jumping into your egoic self that says, well, people need me. I got to do that because nobody else will, or I have to prove myself. Just because you can does not mean that you should. And when you're giving in to flattery or you're giving in because your ego is giving you a story, you're very likely going to be committing your energy to doing things that are not in your highest good. They actually disempower others, they disempower yourself, and then you become a slave to that energy. You may also notice that there's a tendency for you to just jump from one activity to the next activity to the next activity, right? Just like that Energizer bunny, not being able to sit still, not being able to take that time to pause, to reflect, to congratulate yourself for a job well done, but always just looking for the next thing. Really taking the time to be mindful of what you are engaging in, why you are engaging in that, and also to be mindful of the other people around you, whether or not they would also like an opportunity to engage in that with you. If perhaps they want to engage in that activity on their own and in their own time, and really expanding your awareness as you're tapping into gate 20, the power of being in the now, to have the observation, the observer's view, to notice how that energy either inspires others or may unconsciously be pushing them away. So it really is here to teach us to use the art of discernment, to know the correct timing, to know what is right for you, what is healthy for you, what is of the highest good, which means an awareness of other people's energy and not feeding into their shadow, but encouraging their light. Allowing those little children to learn, to grow, to take their time, to experience things with you, not just jumping in and doing everything for everybody else. So, taking the time in that energy to state, I am clear in my knowing that this activity is correct for me. And that sensation is a gut instinct. It is going to come from the sacral of you that just knows, yeah, my body is leading me in this direction. It has nothing to do with your mind, it has everything to do with the body. We're now going to take a look at the gene keys. When we open up the gate of the now, and we use the gene key to explore the alchemical properties in here, this is where we're going to learn about the shadow of superficiality, the dilemma of self-awareness, the gift of self-assurance, and the Sudi of presence. And we are using the book, The Gene Keys. This is by Richard Rudd. So you are going to see a lot of highlights and bullet points from the teachings within this book. I highly encourage you to get a copy if that is available to you, because it's a really great resource for deeper contemplation. So we're going to learn that the language of the 20th gene key and its various frequencies is a purely existential language, meaning it's purely physical. It doesn't involve thought or thinking. It's about the quality of consciousness that can express itself through a human being. And this is where you are in a relationship with your higher self. Your soul self is not separate from you. It chose you as a human, it chose your body. You are his soul having a human experience. So it's really about building a relationship with yourself so that that soul part of you can express itself through you. You are the vessel to that. So we're going to look right at the shadow aspect and its dilemma. And here we're going to find that very little consciousness, very little bit of that higher self is able to be expressed when you're at the shadow level. So it's really about having this watered down reflection of life's potential. You may feel this potential within yourself, but for whatever reason, you're not allowing yourself to go there. You might do just a tiny little bit. You might dream about it, but never do anything about it. It always just kind of keeps us on that fringe of life. It doesn't allow us to plunge into it. So you may be feeling the sense of dissatisfaction or frustration, or, things just never go the way that you want them to go. You're not feeling fulfilled with life. And when our mind is in the way, our higher expression cannot get in and move through us. So think of yourself as a bamboo shoot. A bamboo shoot is hollow inside. The light, the water can pour through and pour out into the ground, into the earth. Well, when we are contained, when we cut off that flow within our chakra systems, within ourself, when our mind is too occupied with trying to think of everything to do, trying to control life, we can't tap into that higher expression that is filling the vessel, that is trying to communicate through the throat. When humans think, they leave the present moment. And I thought that was really interesting when I read that in the Gene Keys. And it's a good experiment to try for yourself. And just notice when your mind starts to wander, when you start thinking about the to-do list, you start thinking about what to do for supper, you start thinking about the past, you're thinking about the future, you're thinking about what you're doing 5 minutes from now, we're gone. We're not in the present moment any longer. So it's actually really fascinating when you think of that reality. Every time we think, we leave the present moment. So how many times are you leaving the present moment in the course of a day? And how many times can you anchor yourself back in by keeping yourself in the here and now, training yourself to stay present? So we leave because that illusion in the mind only thinks in a linear fashion. Every object of thought is placed into a framework. Every sight, every sound, every taste, every smell jogs our memory. We classify it and we put it into a category. We've done that our entire life, and things that we don't know about, we have very little reaction to. Or we tend to create a story to make ourselves feel better, to give it an explanation. So the more that we're dominated by our thinking, the more our higher expression, our consciousness is not allowed to function fully. It is literally pulling down, siphoning off that connection, taking a garden hose and crinking it, not letting that water flow through. We do that with our mind. So to live in the shadow of superficiality is to live with false illusions that are created by our mind. We create our own realities. We create stories. We believe people are a certain way. We judge them. We label them. We judge ourselves. We tell ourselves what's allowed, what's not allowed, what we can do, what we can't do. We override our intuition all the time. So that mind prevents us from feeling one with life. That pulse of life that is flowing through you, it's flowing through me, it's flowing through everything. We cut ourselves off from that. We live in an illusion that we are separate from that. When we turn those thoughts of our mind into action, it is just blind activity. It's doing things just for the sake of doing things. It has no real substance to it. It is just literally killing time, passing the moment, keeping yourself distracted, keeping yourself busy, keeping yourself from feeling, keeping yourself from dealing. And when we do things from that state of awareness, that lack of true awareness, it really does become destructive. And it starts to play havoc with our environment. So it's either where you're doing the wrong things for the wrong reasons, you're keeping yourself from doing what you should really be focusing your time on, where the soul self, the higher self is guiding you, or you're frozen and can't really do anything. You're in the state of procrastination because you just don't know what to do. You're not clear because there's too much illusion that you don't know any longer what's real and what's not real. So it's really about coming back into the now, coming into that gate 20 to sit in the pause and allow for the clarity to come. Allow for yourself to receive a fresh perspective before jumping in and taking action. When we look at the repressive side of the shadow of superficiality, this is where we see absent. It's like the turtle hiding in its shell. And I used to tease my husband when our girls were little children. I said, if our babies came with off switches, our kids would not have gotten to a very old age. There were many times where life was just so crazy and hectic that I wish I could have hit an off switch and given myself a break. Well, we actually do that to ourselves all the time. We have not grown to our full potential. We tap out constantly throughout our day. We turn off our own switch. We go back into our shell. We hide in our mind. We hide behind a hurt heart. We hide behind our feelings. We hide behind a mask. And you can see that in somebody's eyes. You can tell when their eyes are distant or when they're just staring at you, but they look like they're looking right through you. They're not really engaged with you. A lot of times we can become frozen by a trigger, something that triggers one of the wounds in us, an unconscious fear in us, where we just check out. And I used to do that all the time. I used to constantly go into a state of daydreaming whenever there was certain tones that would bother me. If somebody was fighting and arguing, I would just check out of the building. And noticing for yourself, do you tend to do that? Do you tend to leave your awareness? Are you even aware of a tendency to sometimes just check out and be trapped in your thoughts, to be trapped in being somewhere else, to be bored and to totally leave the present moment? This can also be brought out when we are going through intense shock. If you've ever had an accident, if you've ever gone through grief, if something has ever happened where you're just in that state of disbelief, you're frozen, you don't know what to do, that's being absent. That is totally checking out. There's no ability in that moment to cope, so it's leaving to allow another force to come in. And our life does. It very sporadically switches on and off as we are here, we're not here, we're present, we're not present. So, depending on the activity in your mind, how active your mind is or inactive your mind is, well, that's the level of us being absent. So, when I was joking about my children having off switches and me as the parent wanting to turn them off and not allowing them to grow very far in life, that was actually an awareness of that's what I was doing to myself. That I, as an individual, as an adult, still have a lot of growing to do because of all the times that I have unconsciously switched myself off from being present in life, building a comfortability with life, building coping skills with life. And that is true for all of us. That is where the healing begins. That is where you become the parent to those aspects of your inner child that wants to run. But now, as the adult, you're saying, it's okay. We can stay. We can face this together. We can breathe through this. Let's not run any longer. Let's become the observer. Let's see what there is to learn. Let's extract the wisdom. Let's move through this together. And that is how the higher self talks to those parts of your body, how you build a relationship with the soul self and the human self. We also have a reactive side to this shadow. And this woman kind of cracks me up because, yeah, I've been there too. That's the state of being hectic, feeling all this energy coming into the body, feeling uncomfortable, feeling a fear, and immediately just going to pour it all into an activity. Forensic cleaning, doing something that's just like a whirlwind, tearing the house apart, just like exerting yourself. You might be going for a run, but the run is just like full on running. It's a lot of energy that's just trying to be released from the body, but it's an energy of fear. And you're going to notice when it escalates into that fear because every time something triggers you, it's boom, I got to go do something. Boom, I got to distract myself. Boom, I got to go and pick up something and just start cleaning. I got to leave. I got to go for a run, right? It's knowing how you translate that energy within yourself. And if you notice that you're constantly on the move, you're not able to stop yourself when you're in one of those manic states, one of those hectic states, you're lost in the mind, you're just checked out doing an activity, then you're going to notice that you're in the reactive side. And our world has become increasingly hectic. We have been conditioned to do this. We have been told that it is lazy to stand still, that there's something wrong with you if you're not keeping yourself busy, that there is something wrong with your energy, that you're lacking, that you're not good enough if you're not constantly being involved. It is a program. So it's so important to become in tune with your body, to notice how the energy affects you, What do you do when you're afraid? What do you do when you're uncomfortable? What do you do when you're emotional? What happens when something triggers you? Do you check out? Do you start moving? Does things get hectic around you? What do you notice in the people in your life? How do they tend to handle some of this energy? So this is where we start engaging in that gate and we become the observer to see our own patterns, our own conditioning, and to also see how the world is in that conditioned state as well. The more you catch this within yourself, the more you then have an opportunity to switch courses and harness in the gift aspect. This is also going to relate to your human design chart, and it relates to our evolution as a human. So we have three awareness centers in human design. We have that splenic awareness, which is our oldest center, our center of health and intuitive awareness, our instinctual fears related to survival. That is our body connection, pure body consciousness, little eyes and ears all over your system, alerting you to danger, giving you the heads up. That is our animalistic fight, flight, freeze, or fawn instinct. Then we evolved as a species. We came into a self-reflected consciousness. We were now able to start problem solving, innovating, coming up with inventions. This also opened up our third eye. New possibilities, tapping into a higher guidance. From there, we evolved into the solar plex, our youngest awareness center. This is where we are today. We are very young in our awareness of our emotional energy, but this is also where we house our spirit, our depth, and this is our gut brain. So we're learning to bring this online. And right now we have a world full of a lot of emotional immaturity because it is new. We have not been taught about the power of our emotions. We have not been taught about our capacity to feel. We haven't been taught how to really trust in that inner spirit. So this is the same as looking at the mind, body, spirit relationship. Well, when we have a calm mind and we have a calm body, our spirit, our gut brain rises us up, connects us to that higher self. So in the teachings of the Gene Keys by Richard Rudd, it's only when the mind has been overridden by our future awareness rooted in that solar plex that consciousness begins to manifest activity that no longer meets resistance. That's the law of attraction, attracting instantly to you what is for the highest good. This was also taught to us by Buddha. Buddha's teaching of the right action, taking the right action. You don't engage in action unless it's the right action, conserving your energy to only do what is correct. Sitting in the pause, sitting in the meditation, doing nothing until the right action, the right moment is there. And that occurs for us when the frequency of our DNA lifts us out of the shadow. So when we rise our vibration by having that calm mind, the calm body, so the spirit can rise us up. And when that happens, our decisions, our activity, they emerge naturally and they emerge harmoniously. Everything just kind of goes with the flow of life because you are tapped into the pulse of life. You're not fighting life. You're in the now. You are connected. You are in the present moment. You are part of life. You are supported by life. You are life itself. So this brings us into the gift of self-assurance, knowing who you are. When you know who you know who you are not. So the more you can learn about your human design, your gene keys, your birth chart, all of those aspects that make you you, the more it's easier to spot your conditioning. So that gift of self-assurance, it comes into being when we learn to let go of our thinking as the authority to making decisions. We've been taught to let the mind decide. We're here to tap into the wisdom of the body, the inner knowing, the cellular DNA knowing. Letting the mind be the observer to life, letting the higher self, your soul self, drive the way. That requires surrender. Surrendering deeply to life at every moment, trusting in life, accepting that life has its plans, has its flow, has divine timing, and to stop interfering, to not let the mind go, well, we've got to do this, we got to do it now, I want to do it this way. Not interfering, but trusting. You'll feel it in your body when it's go time. You'll also feel the fear, the FOMO that says you're going to miss out. But you'll learn to recognize the difference between, is this my ego? Is this my fear? Is this my higher self? My inner knowing. And that only comes when you spend more time with getting to know who you are and you relax into being present here on earth, present with your human. So there's no technique that can lead you to the gift. There's no step-by-step manual. Life will teach you, but you have to embrace life in order to learn how to let go. You have to build that sense of trust within yourself. If you don't trust in you, you will override your own decisions. You are your own authority. You are here to save yourself. You're also the greatest punisher of self. So learning that our decisions in life, they just simply get made. They're written in the stars. Our soul came with a plan. Life itself is ever evolving, it's ever changing, it's ever adapting. So why worry about that? Why stress over that? Why not just go for the flow of that, to be adaptable with that? When we make decisions then from that higher level of frequency, from that place of self-assurance, they're made right in the moment. They're not premeditated. Life is spontaneous. Your soul is spontaneous. It just moves with the pulse, with the heartbeat. It is wild. It is organic. That decision is going to emerge for you instantly. It's in the now, instant clarity, instant action, and it comes from the entirety of your being, your skin, your DNA, your cells, not the mind. It doesn't worry about life, so it has this sense of humor that comes with it, a lightness. It's not taking everything so personally. It's not believing that the world is centered around self, that everybody is out to get you, right? Is stuck in traffic. Everybody else isn't intent on making you late. It's the acceptance of, well, I meant to pause right now. I meant to take it a little bit slower right now. Life is guiding me. So there's a humor to that. And your self-assurance is directly equivalent to your ability to escape being a victim of your mind. It's really hard to have a high level of confidence and to know who you are if your mind is constantly berating you, if your mind's telling you you're not good enough, if your mind tells you you have to prove yourself, if you're a victim of someone else's behavior, of the government, of the job, of whatever it is, instead of seeing that it's in your hands to make choices and decisions in support of your highest good. That we have the free will choice to choose. And that you're not responsible for anybody else's life. You're not responsible for saving the world, but you're sure responsible to save yourself and to empower yourself, to trust in yourself, to believe in yourself, to champion yourself, to stay present with yourself. This brings us into the highest. Oh, we got one more slide here. This is the bee. And I love the bee as a representation because that is the symbol of that high vibrational energy. Life is sweet. When you're vibrating high, you are here enjoying the sweetness of life. That is the teachings of gate number 20. Enjoying life, enjoying the flavor, seeing the magic, seeing the relationship between every living thing. Our self-assurance is related to individual strength. And this is where we see the importance of a strong foundation. And it starts in the individual. It starts when you are a child. Every child has their own natural strengths that emerge organically as they develop, as long as they are given the right loving environment through their parents and their peers. And the ultimate loving environment for a child is to be surrounded by self-assured adults. Now, many of us did not have parents or peers that supported our individual strengths. Our parents didn't have that. Our grandparents didn't have that. We are learning the importance of that. We are a generation of what I call the chain breakers, learning how to parent our inner child so that the children of the future can come in and they can be supported and they can be harnessed and encouraged to bring their strengths forward. Not placed into a system, not placed into a box, not made to feel like they're an inconvenient, but honored for who they are and what they came here to share. Well, you and I can do that by learning how to bring back our natural gifts, to move through the conditioning, to remember who we are, and to bring that gift back into the world, to let the flower of you bloom, to not close it and decide who gets to enjoy it, but to know that the flower opens for all. The flower allows for its beauty to be seen, to be witnessed, to be shared, to be experienced. And then it knows when it's time to release that back into the earth to be cultivated into something else. The 20th gift can only be cultivated through trust, patience, surrender. It allows everything to come to you instead of going out and chasing life down. So it is the state of the divine laziness, the inner relaxation, the mind, the body, the spirit connection. But how many of us were taught, get out there, chase life, compete, climb your way to the top, be the best in the class? How many of us compare ourselves to somebody else and then decide whether we are good enough or not good enough? What if we stopped doing that? What if you trusted that your job is to build up those pieces of you that are natural, that you are enjoying, that brings you joy and satisfaction, that lights you up, and then allowing those who are magnetically attracted to your light, to your frequency to come in. Not just letting the flies and the mosquitoes in, but attracting the bees, attracting the vibration that works with the sweetness of your honey, the golden elixir of your soul. Having healthy boundaries in place to keep out the shadow energy. Allowing life to come to you. Our manifesting generators, this is the gift of responding to life. Our projectors, this is the invitation to engage in life, to share your guidance. Reflectors, this is reflecting out the beauty of the harmony in the environment. And our manifestors, this is opening the doorway to peace and allowing life to be as life is meant to be. Our highest aspect in here, the Sudi of presence, known as the breath of God, God, source, the creator, whatever you call it. It's the underlying nature of being. It's not having to do anything. It's being. It already is. You breathe naturally. In fact, the divine is breathing you. You don't have to do it. They're doing it for you. To be in the state of presence is to have pure consciousness flooding into your being, silencing the mind, and drawing you fully into the present moment. The breath of God, being so at peace with life, so at peace with yourself, so at peace with your inner knowing, with trusting who you are, with allowing life to unfold as it should be, moving the ego out of the way that wants to control things, dissolving the sense of the small self, the small I, the small ego, and just knowing your presence is what truly matters. Your energy is felt by others. Your magnetic vibration brings to you exactly what it is that is here to support you for the highest good. It doesn't mean it's all sunshine and roses. It means that there is wisdom and learning opportunities. There is compassion, there is empathy, there is patience, there is grace, there is all of these virtuous qualities to learn as we learn to sit in the power of the present moment and build up our relationships and build up ourselves and to be so radically honest so that we choose to do the right things for the right reasons instead of distracting ourselves, pretending that things do not exist when they do. There's some beautiful, powerful energy in this gate. We are in Gemini season. That is the twins. It is looking at this and that. It is in the element of air. So this is communication. We're on a big journey in this energy to really work on that throat center, which means tapping into deep, deep listening to open up the chalice, to open up the connection to the high heart, to raise up your vibration, to transcend through some of those early year conditionings, the idea of having to have an image to be something and to be so content in your authenticity, in your beauty, in your design, in your flavor, your thumbprint, that you no longer apologize for being yourself. I look forward to traveling through Gemini season with you. We are in for a ride, and I will see you in the next gate channeling in the lesson to come. Take care. Bye-bye.